In this video, I'm going to give advice to all of you project owners when it comes to Takt and Last Planner. So I have a question for you. Do you want to get better at watching your projects fail, or do you want to put your time towards preventing them from ever having a crash landing? My promise is, if you heed the advice in this video, your projects will do better, perform better, and have a higher chance of finishing on time. So let's do this. So let me start out by talking about Takt and Last Planner. Takt is a scheduling system that puts time on the top and location on the left so that you can see your most critical components in a schedule, which is how your trades are flowing. There's two really big things that will guarantee that your project do not do well. Number one, if you do not spend enough time in pre-construction, that means you, with your contractor, with certain trade partners, with the builders that are going to build the building. In the book, How Big Things Get Done, the author talks about a study that covers over 1,000 projects, from home renovations to mega projects, and he can predict with a really neat bell curve that most projects will fail from one major reason. That is a failure to plan it right, to think slow and act fast. Projects do not go wrong, they start wrong. So that is the first indicator of a failed project, is if it's not planned properly. And I will say, with the Takt production system, and then later with Last Planner. Number two, in your project, if you do not protect trade flow with a Takt plan paired with Last Planner, your project has a high likelihood of failing, because it is not delays primarily that make projects go bad. It is not a loss of labor. It is not untrained labor. It is a failed scheduling system that does not allow our trades to learn and flow through the project. And so if you see trades all over the place, which is called trade burdening, or too many trades in one zone, which is called trade stacking, or what we call zone stacking, then you will have a high likelihood of having your project fail. So you can spend all the money you want. You can hire all the scheduling consultants you want to go monitor that project in CPM. But all you're doing is getting a better pair of binoculars to watch your project fail, and you're not doing anything to prevent the failure. If you want to prevent the failure, you will have a macro level Takt plan in pre-construction, and you will have a fresh eyes meeting and a solid plan before you ever break ground, and you will monitor and enable and require your builders to use the Takt production system and Last Planner throughout construction, which will have the effect of preventing the problem from ever happening. So I would say, stop getting a better set of binoculars to watch your project fail. Spend that money to prevent it from failing in the first place. So here's my advice. When you're hiring a contractor, they must know how to implement Takt, and they must know how to implement Last Planner. And on your project, like I said before, there has to be a remarkable pre-construction effort with the Takt production system. 60% of your project success is determined before you ever break ground. You must plan that project with your contractor, or you must hire a contractor that will plan that project properly before you ever begin. Remember the quote from Sun Tzu from his book, The Art of War? Great generals win the war before going to battle. Amateurs go to battle and then seek to win. That project needs to win in the planning phase before you ever break ground. Also, you need a contractor that knows what they're doing. If I had one test that needed to happen in the proposal and interview phase, it would be to test them on how well they can plan and schedule the project. In fact, instead of an interview, instead of listing out all of the qualifications of the company, I'd probably actually say, all right, team, I want to see the superintendent that will be on my project. Here is a set of plans. I want you, with your trade partners or whatever team you have available, go build me a macro level takt plan and explain to me, Mr. or Mrs. Superintendent, how you're going to run the last planner system and how you're going to prevent problems from ever taking place in the first place. That would be a better use of time, actually, because most of the teams you're hiring are great at putting together proposals, great at putting together graphics. That doesn't say anything about the project team. That just means they have a really cool marketing department. I would prove that this contractor knows how to implement Takt and Last Planner and that they could actually do it and prove it to you. That is the key for your project to be successful. Because there are so many superintendents out there that aren't trained. The great builders that we used to have, most of them are gone. And if you're a superintendent watching this video, I'm not talking about you. Don't be mad at me. I'm just saying contractors can't just hire supers and have them be trained. Most of the training programs that we're used to are now not happening. They're gone. Or the company has grown to $6 billion and they still have the same budget as when they were a $1 billion company. And nobody really knows how to run a project the lean way with the right scheduling systems. So again, you must have a general contractor and a superintendent and then subcontractors that are trained and know what they're doing, and they must know Takt, Last Planner, and Scrum and be able to implement it as a form of habit. And so I've got 3 more suggestions for you before we leave this video. 3 more. Here's what I want to ask you to do. Please stop forcing your general contractors to create detailed CPM schedules. It is only wasting time. It is only wasting resources. And again, it's only allowing you to better see how bad the project is going to fail, because using CPM alone without Takt and Last Planner will predict that your project fails. And I have contract language for you to help you out with this. It's on taktguide.com. You can reference it anytime. I have in there the templated contract language for you to enable your general contractor to use the Takt production system as the primary scheduling system. From there, you filter your 6-week make-ready look-aheads and your weekly work plans from that, and then you summarize a high-level, level 2, or at the most detail, a level 3 CPM schedule. You will use the Takt plan as the base and only summarize it in CPM if you still have to. This is my ask. Stop asking your general contractors to create detailed CPM schedules. Let them use Takt and summarize it in CPM only if you have to. All right, the second to last. I'm asking you, if you want your project to go well, not only will you have a Takt plan, macro and norm level, which we will explain in other videos on this channel, but I also want you to make sure from day one that your contractors have a killer procurement log. And on that log, you will see all long lead materials, you will see the supply chain, and you will see 2 key things, hopefully, if it's done right. The required on job date that's locked into the Takt plan and what's called a material inventory buffer. I want all of that clearly shown for you as the owner or as the owner's rep, day 1 or day 2 or 3, whenever you can get it, but at the very beginning, so that you know if you can get the materials there to support the macro level Takt plan, to support the master schedule, okay? And then as the contractor, your general contractor, works with trade partners to identify long lead procurement and to manage those supply chains, now you have a baseline. So don't just ask for a baseline in your schedule, ask for a baseline with your procurement log as well. And ask for the right baseline in the Takt plan, and ask for a baseline procurement log that is aligned to that Takt plan. And lastly, manage delays together. Don't just beat your contractor over the head with your contractual requirements that if it's not on the critical path, that you're not going to give them a time impact analysis or additional dollars or help them recover the delay. That's absolutely insane. In fact, on a project, there is no such thing as a critical path. You can just let that go. There's only such a thing as what's called a path of critical flow or a critical flow path, okay? And so we will link you in the description below to an article that talks about that. But my point is this: if you have a delay Recover that delay the proper way in the Takt production system. Work with your team and don't just ignore their requests because it's not on the critical path. And don't just immediately assume that they can recover it with resources or overtime. In fact, additional resources and overtime are almost certainly guaranteed to delay your project. And so, in summary, you have to have a general contractor that knows what they're doing. You have to test that superintendent and make sure that he or she can actually implement the systems. You have to do a great job of planning with your macro and norm level Takt plans, and it has to be in a visual system that protects trade flow. You need to stop asking for detailed CPM schedules and let your contractor use Takt. You must pair your Takt plan with a procurement log, and you've got to manage delays together as a collaborative team. That is the pattern, and that is my advice. If you really want to run great projects, you can either hire us for help if you want, or get an owner's rep that knows what they're doing and knows Takt and Last Planner, but you definitely have to have a contractor that knows Takt and Last Planner. And this is what will happen. You will stop creating detailed CPM schedules that do nothing to help your job except for you to monitor how bad it's going, and you will start predicting the success of your project. If you need help, let us know. We're your partner. And if you need to hire someone to do this as an owner's rep or to help your contractor, call us, we can help. And here's our call to action. Stop, please, building projects with CPM. You have to run your projects with Takt and Last Planner. When you do, you will see remarkable results. And so all of this will be in the description below. All of the promised resources and the list of requirements that will predict success for your building that you care about so much. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.